Hi mathematicians, today we are on lesson 12.9 in your Go Math book. It's called Halves and it's on page 521. And today our essential question is, how can a shape be separated into two equal shares or equal parts? So we talked about this last time, and now we're really getting into fractions like I kind of introduced to you. So let's hear a little story about these two. There were two friends who wanted to split this sandwich. They were out on a picnic, okay? How should they split their sandwich so that they each get an equal share? Well, let's see. If I do a line down here, they're not going to get equal parts. But if I cut right down the middle, they would each get an equal share. This would be, how many parts do we have? 2. So this would be 1 part out of 2, 1/2, and this would be 1 part out of 2. Okay, 2 parts total. This is 1 piece out of the 2, this is 1 piece out of the 2. 2 equal parts, and together that would make 1 whole. 1 whole sandwich. Okay, now 2 other friends had a sandwich and they wanted to split it completely in half, but they wanted to do it a different way. Said, we don't like that way that you split it. We want to do it a different way. Is there another way that you could get 2 equal shares? Think about that for a moment. How would you split this up? Hopefully you try it on your own paper. Okay. Yeah, I could go diagonally and they would each get half, 1 part out of 2, 1/2 of a sandwich. Now what it wants us to say is, will all 4 friends get the same amount of sandwich? You might think, no, this looks larger than this. This is a triangle. Okay, this rectangle is larger than the triangle. But to tell you the truth, they would all get the same amount. Because just because you split it diagonally this way doesn't mean that they are getting any less. Okay, now if I split it down this way and then I suddenly had 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and I split this up between 4 people and they each got a piece, then we would get less. This would be actually 1/4 if I split that. That would be less, even though you might think, ooh, there's a 4 on the bottom. That must be more. Nope, it's actually less food. Okay, but we were talking about halves. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. We were talking about halves, and just because you split it diagonally does not mean that they're getting any less. Each of them have a half. This sandwich was the same size as this sandwich, so it didn't matter if you split it down the middle this way, across this way, or diagonally. Okay, moving on. The 2 equal shares make 1 whole. That's what I've been talking to you about. 1 whole. That would mean it's not split up at all. There are no cuts in it. Okay, and then 2 equal shares, 1 share over here, makes 2 halves. Is half of the circle larger or smaller than the whole circle? Well, okay, let's say, I always like to talk about food, you know that. Let's talk about pizza. Say you have a pizza here, and say you're really hungry, like, and think about you wouldn't get a stomach ache, okay? And I ask you, okay, Owen, do you want a whole pizza or a half? Which one is gonna give you more? Well, a whole, Owen would take this whole thing and eat it. Okay, and if he wanted a half, he would just get this portion, split it, and he'd get this. Then maybe he'd share this with his sister. Okay, so this is actually, half is smaller than a whole because 2 halves make 1 whole. If I put these 2 halves in here, they're gonna equal 1 whole. Okay, draw a line to show halves. We are just focusing on halves today. And you do not have to do this the same way that I do it. There are multiple ways to split things in halves. Okay, I'm gonna go diagonally this way. And then it wants us to, so I have 1 part out of 2, 1/2. That's how you write 1/2. 1 part over here out of 2. We split it into 2 parts. There you go. And over here, I'm gonna do it this way. How many parts do I have? 2. 1 part over here out of 2. 1 part out of 2. 2 halves. Okay. Now I have this guy straight down the middle. Some of you may not have the best straight lines, or you may not judge it perfectly. That's okay. You want to get as close to the middle as possible. How many parts? Because mine is not perfectly equal, but we're going to pretend like I did it perfectly equal and went straight down the middle. Okay. It's kind of hard to do, so don't get frustrated if you don't do it perfectly. It's okay. So 2 different parts. Here's 1 piece out of 2, and here's 1 piece out of 2 total. Okay? And again, now I showed a different way. I can split it diagonally. I'm still going to get 2 equal shares. 1 part out of 2, 1 part out of 2, 1/2 and 1/2. Together they make 1 whole. Okay, have a great time, mathematicians.